Welcome to Cashflow Savannah, episode 56. Today we have a rant. Stop asking why a seller is selling. Chandler, have you ever bought real estate and said, so why are they selling? Have you ever had that question?
No, but I get it. I don't know if that's just I feel like that's what people just learned growing up. Oh, you need to know why they're selling, but that's just not the case.
I I only work with investors as a real estate agent, and I just want to say that I think people psych themselves out. I think it's scary and they want a reason to not do it maybe, or I don't really know what the psychology is, but I just want to put this message out to the world. Get out of your head. Real estate is about numbers, it's math. And if the math is mathing, buy the property. And then if the math is not mathing, don't buy the property. I don't care what color it is. I don't care who the seller is. It doesn't matter why they're selling. The question that you need to focus on is, do the numbers work? I can't even say that strongly enough.
Yeah, no, that's literally what I do. If I'm looking at properties, it's just a math problem. Like I
Right.
look at it, I see a number, and you write a number down. Like that's all right. What can I pay for this? And that's all it is. I don't really see it. And I guess I look for opportunity. Like where can I make this a 4 bedroom
Right.
or But yeah, I do not think. I'm like, I wonder why this dude's selling.
Doesn't matter. It could
Yeah,
be because there's a ladybug in the master bathroom that
yeah,
made his wife scream. It literally doesn't matter. Maybe his cat died, and he's devastated. I don't know if people think that that's going to get them a better deal. It's not. When you look at the psychology of the seller, they're going to put a property up at, let's say, $100,000 just to keep it simple. And in their head, they have a number that they're not going to go below, so they're going to say, okay, it's 100,000 and I won't go below 95, or, there's usually a marker in there. No one's going to tell you that marker. I can beg, plead, ask the other agent, what's his bottom number? I think that's what they're getting at, is what's their bottom number. But
yeah.
the question, why are they selling? It literally doesn't matter. And it's funny because I spoke to a very interesting buyer the other day, very, nothing against the buyer, but I had to give her the speech, which is what made me say, we need to record a podcast about it. But this is interesting, Chandler. This is what she said. Well, I was studying the market, which is good. I support that. And she said, I'm seeing that a lot of properties are transacting every few years, and that makes me nervous. What's going on? Why are they selling every few years? Does that seem curious to you? And I said, no. And she said, really? You don't wonder? And I said, I don't wonder at all. I don't really care. If it's a good deal, I'm going to buy it. And I did say, we have a lot of REITs here. Some people overpaid and are selling out. I mean, there could be a million reasons why they're selling, but it really doesn't matter. It's the sales price in one column and then the income that you're going to generate in another column. And if the bottom equation there is a profit and you like that number, you need to go after that.
Yeah, no doubt. It's just it's as simple as that. It's a spreadsheet. The bottom number worked. You like the cash on cash return, whatever you like. Because I think about it, like so many people walk into properties and they're just like, ugh, that is so ugly. And I'm just like, oh, I think it looks pretty good white. And it could be purple right now, but it looked great white. Some people just can't
Right.
see past that. They want the pretty thing right now. But sometimes you gotta look past all that and just you can make it pretty. It's easy to make houses really pretty.
That's
I've
right.
seen some horrendous houses look really good now. So
I own a few of those.
I agree.
When I first bought, everyone was like, are you crazy? You bought there? Yep.
You looked at the numbers though. It was just a numbers game for you.
I
So
laughed. This is funny for you. We're just diverging. But when my youngest was in high school, and he played at a high school where you used to go, Chandler, in Savannah, and his friends were like, "Oh, this is the hood. This is scary, man. This is the hood." And my son goes, "Man, this isn't the hood. My mom works in the hood. This is good."
uh,
I thought that was so funny.
that's
But
so funny because when I'd go to that school, I'd have to ride through the hood, and I thought it was the hood, but now I drive through it and I'm like, man, I wish I would have bought back here
right.
because it was it was kind of run down when I was going to in high school, but now it's like booming like crazy.
That's when I was buying there.
Yeah. So
But you know why? The numbers. And I never once said, "Hey, why are you selling, what is currently perceived as the hood?" I never said that to a seller. I said, "Will you take this price?" And then when they said yes, I went hard for it. Like it literally was about the math. And I've bought properties in distress where the owner hated the tenants. I bought properties that were sitting vacant and they were just sick of paying the bills. I bought stuff that was a short sale. I've bought stuff for all kind of different reasons. Why? Because of the math. And that's literally all it comes down to. So I'm no psychiatrist. Chandler is definitely no psychiatrist either. But we're here to tell you, get out of your head and get out your calculator and quit asking the question, why is the seller selling? It doesn't matter. It could be a flip. It could be his grandma died. But if the numbers work, buy it.
yeah, no doubt. I want to ask, so what are objections that you run into with most investors that you are an agent for? Like what scares them off like most of the time?
To be honest with you, to be brutally honest with you, unsophisticated buyers get really freaked out by that inspection report. And that's a real big point of contention. And that's, we probably should review some of these sometimes on a podcast because the inspector is there to have your back and he's going to do it. But his job is also to find every little thing wrong with the property. Well, even on a brand new property, you'll see issues on the inspection report. But when you're in Savannah, Georgia, where everything is 40 years old or more, there's stuff wrong with it. Like it's not a perfect house. But you know what I'm focused on? The math. Do we have a resounding theme here? Yes, we do. So if I'm looking at the issues, the little stuff, I don't really care. The big stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
But if I'm getting a good enough deal, like let's talk about a roof. Okay, this is a good example. I've bought a million houses with an old roof. The house that flooded, Chandler, that that house, it's in Richmond Hill. The roof is original. The roof is absolutely close to 30 years old. And I knew that when I bought it, that the roof it is original and I will need a new roof. I have owned that property over 8 years. It cash flows almost $1,000 a month for me because I've owned it so long, because my payment's so low, because rent has gone up, right? Math, right? Math. So I still haven't replaced the roof. I'm not going to replace the roof until I have to. But did that inspector go, Julie, the roof is really old. It's near the end of life. They always use these terms in the
Yeah.
inspection report, near its end of life. Okay, cool. Is it leaking today? Do I have to put money in it today? If the answer to that is no, ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's a roof I've owned over 8 years. I haven't put a penny in it. The day I have to put a new roof on, I will not be upset because I love a new roof. I have
Yeah.
a great roofer. They're very affordable for the most part. I mean, it's not great, but I can get a new roof for under 10,000. It's going to be a 50-year roof. I will replace that roof once in my lifetime and that's it. And so I really don't stress out about the stuff that I can deal with later. Let's talk about a water heater. That's another great example. Again, it's about the math. A new water heater is between $1,000 and $2,000. When I replace a water heater, I buy a tankless water heater because I like them better. I think they last longer, especially if it's going to be a furnished rental. I don't want to pay heat to heat water when there's no guest inside. I want to only pay when the guest turns on hot water. So I'm probably going to spend 2,000. Maybe your average Joe would spend 1,200, but I make my stuff nice. I want to keep it forever. So again, the report, if that water heater is more than 10 years old, the inspector is going to use that jargon again, past expected life. It's past life expectancy or however you say that. That's going to be on the report. But did it have hot water? Yes. Is it working? Yes. Am I going to touch it? No. Why would you? Or sometimes you get this, the water heater doesn't have a pan underneath it. I don't know if that came along later. I'm not really sure because I do see houses with pans and I definitely see a lot of houses without a pan under the water heater. But I also know you cannot lift up the water heater and put a pan under it. If it's not there right now, again, ain't broke, don't fix it because you don't want to de-pipe it and all this stuff. So a lot of unsophisticated investors will come in and freak out when they see 48 things wrong, but it's just the inspector doing his job. But it really comes down to the math. Okay. What on that report did you not expect? When I look at a property for a buyer, whether they're in Savannah or not, I'm going to tell them my guess on the age of the roof. I'm going to tell them this water heater's old, but as long as it's working, don't worry about it. The air conditioner, I can look at it. I'm not an HVAC guy. I can look at the water heater. I mean, the water heater, the air conditioner, and tell you if it's old or not. If I can read the label, you've got a fairly new air conditioner. And if I can't read the label, it's older. But if it's not broken, I'm not going to touch it. Not till the day it dies. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to maintain it. But it really comes down to the math. So what you want to look for in that inspection report is what's a huge ticket item that I'm going to have to address right now that I wasn't expecting. Most likely, I already knew the water heater was old and the air conditioner was old and the roof was old before the inspector got there. They've already probably put that into the sales price, or I've negotiated that in at the sales price that I have. My question is, what surprises are there? Is there a leaking toilet from level 1 all the way down to level, the basement? That's a huge problem. I'm going to have to address that right away. So that's something that I might freak out over, and quote unquote, go after the seller and say, look, I'm going to need some money to fix the toilet or whatever. So, it's what people don't realize. They see this report as this, 40 pages of bad news, but it's really just like, okay, I just scroll down to the last 3 pages. What did the inspector say are real issues? And that's what I'm going to focus in on.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think of it as like everything's fixable.
Yeah.
Everything is fixable. And then you got to, I mean, that's just CapEx expenses that you just put in.
Right.
Everybody's supposed to do 10% a year in CapEx expenses and just save up for it. No, it's going to happen.
Right.
You have to replace a roof, you have to replace the water heater, and you have to replace the AC at some point. Just that cash flow that you're making, take 10% of that cash flow and put it away because you have to replace it.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty simple. That's just how you solve it. I
Yes,
think,
ma'am.
yeah, I'm just glad. I think everybody's been hearing this as real estate is this like pretty, I don't know. I guess they don't hear the bad stuff enough to get into it, and then they go in to get into it, and they think it's like this, just kind of like, oh, it's everything's perfect, but it's not. Once you buy some houses, houses are not perfect by any means, and especially like you said, Savannah, everything's 1970s, 80s, and if you're buying 1970s, 80s houses, just expect that you're going to get a bad foundation, a bad roof. I mean, things are old, like 1980s is old stuff, and just expect it to break.
Well, and I don't even, the word bad foundation, I'm going to disagree with you. I have a ton of houses with foundation issues in that they'll have some sloping or a crack or something. But again, if the home is in solid shape, tenants don't care. I mean, I buy those all day. But, the other thing I want to bring to everyone's attention is that there are a lot of people in the real estate world making a ton of money selling a dream, but they're not actually making a ton of money in real estate. You and I only make money off of real estate where you don't have a coaching course. We don't have, anything big and fancy to sell people. We're just talking real estate and property management and real estate sales. So just be aware it's easy to sell someone when you're offering something that's perfect, and the word passive draws a
Yeah,
lot of people in. And what we're here to say is we love it. We're not quitting on real estate. We've done very well in real estate, but we're also very honest about the fact that it's a ton of work. You have to do the math. You have to get ready for bad things to happen because they're going to happen. And we have no problem talking about that. That's our everyday job. We love it.
yeah, no, real estate's a business. It's not,
That's right.
I mean, you use your money to, like, real estate can be a piggy bank, but I mean, it's a business. You're buying a product and then you're trying to sell the product basically. I mean, that's what real estate is. I think people just think that it's going to be this buy a house, so the tenant's going to go in, no vacancies ever, no repairs ever. So yeah, just stick to the numbers. If you run your numbers right, CapEx, vacancies, all that good stuff in it, you'll be good to go.
And may I say to buy real estate, I am here to tell you buy real estate. I am the biggest proponent of that. But
Mm.
you need to also manage what you buy. Okay. You need to manage that investment. Now, if you don't have time to do it yourself, then you hire a professional like yourself and myself, Chandler, where someone's got to be watching over that. And we talked about this in our last episode, but we were just crazy over this David Green interview. And I think because I'm very familiar with the situation, there's someone wasn't watching the real estate and what was going on there. And it just allowed things to just really take a dive. So if you're going to put money into something, if you're going to spend money for coaching, that's cool, but get the asset, but also either you manage it yourself or pay someone who's going to do it. If you really think that you're just going to buy a furnished medium-term rental and manage it from Poughkeepsie and it's here in Savannah, that's not going to work out very well. I see that every day where they're trying to save money, but by not managing their investment, it's degrading every day. And it is what it is. So you've got to manage what you purchase there.
Yep, that's back to the math. If you want someone to manage it for you, run the management numbers as well. So
Right. And have that in your numbers. When you're running profitability on a property, you need to put the management fee in there. Like that's not an expense. That's part of what you need to do. There you don't just buy a business and then be like, okay, send me the checks. I'll see you later. I'll never be here. I'm on a beach, with 3 rentals. I don't know any guys like that at all.
no, I don't either. And that's one thing that I even catch myself doing it. When you're running numbers, you want to like kind of cut some expenses out just so it works. You're like, God, this management's killing my numbers. You're like, well, maybe I'll just cut that one out. It's easy to do that because you really want to make it work, but please don't do that.
Well, and on numbers, and I'm in no way saying overpay for something. There's a million ways to say this, but when I first started, I did overpay. I paid more than I should have because all I was focused on was the mortgage payment. Okay, so I did overpay at that time, but I was smart enough to buy in a good market that was appreciating well and very steadily. And now on that same house, I look like a complete genius. But there were a couple of years where I did have negative cash flow because I didn't know the numbers. And I also paid a property manager, which, and that wasn't the property manager's fault by any means, but I was paying out of pocket about $70 because for some reason I didn't include their fees in. But and I knew I wanted a property manager and I got one anyway. But had I just planned for that just a little bit better and gotten more off on that house, which I probably could have done, I think I would have done better from day one. But still, the beautiful thing about real estate is if you buy in the right market, it's going to do well for you, even if the numbers are kind of thin at the beginning. But every year, rent can and should go up if it's managed appropriately. That mortgage payment is going to stay the same. And that's where you just look better and better. And you're able to add more properties. So I didn't bake that into my math. I wish I would have done my math a little bit better. But because real estate is very forgiving over time, if you can hang in there with it, a lot of times you can come out of a tougher situation.
It goes back to some people can get away with paying a little bit, like coming out of pocket, really. Like, I don't recommend it. I have a couple buddies that are like, yeah, I'll pay 100, 200 bucks out of pocket. I'm like, all right, as long as you can foot the bill and you understand that there's going to be more than just 100, 200 bucks out of pocket. Like you're going to be, I'm like, something's going to break. I don't want to be negative Nancy, but I just want to let them know, like, hey, like,
Right.
I was like, if you want to play the appreciation game, go for it. But and if you're okay with coming out of pocket, go for it. But just understand.
It's about the math. It doesn't matter why the seller is selling. It's what are you going to pay? What are you going to make off of it? Have you studied the market? How comfortable are you? If all that works out, buy that property. It does not matter why they're selling. It never does. It never will.
Keep it
So
simple.
that's right. Keep it simple. Absolutely.
Keep it simple.
I
So
would say that to myself 48 times a day. Keep it simple, stupid. Like, it's so easy to overcomplicate things. We'll stop
yeah,
it. It's
I get it.
simple.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we appreciate you guys coming on this rant. That's what Julie called it earlier on. So, but yeah, we'll see y'all in the next episode. Please like, subscribe, let us know what you want to hear, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.